Let's say you have huge amount of data, you want to use AI to help you to analyze the data with NVivo. So how do you go about it? The big picture here is that you upload all the transcript into NVivo and you create containers for the research question. And then you go through the transcript and extract all the information that is significant addressing the research question and put them in the container for each of the research question. Then you use AI Assistant to help you to develop codes under each of the research question, and that will be the code that will help you to address the research question that you have. So you see how you can use the AI Assistant to help you to make sense of your data. You are doing the analysis, but it's just helping you to accomplish your goal in terms of analyzing your qualitative data. So let's go. Imagine you have interviewed 5 participants. They are primary healthcare physicians. You want to find out their experience of burnout, the solutions of burnout, the causes of burnout. And these are their demographics, right? Their age, gender, years of experience, and ethnicity. And as you can see, I have 2 research questions. One is about the causes of burnout, and one is about the solutions of burnout. Let's open NVivo 15. So this is what you're going to see when you open NVivo 15, right? So we are going to start a new project. So I click on new project and I'll type here burnout project September. You can give a description, but it's not required. You can keep a log of user action, but it's not really important. You can check here, but I normally don't check there. And I go to browse. This is where you decide where you want to save your project. I want to save my project on my desktop. So I click on desktop and click on OK and go to next. And here, if you want a system to automatically save as you are working on the project, you can choose yes here. Here too, in terms of recovery file, you can choose a place where you can put the recovery file. And then you click on create project. And then you see your project here, right? Now you click on skip and click on close. The next one is to import your transcript. How do you import a transcript? You click on import files, and then you look for your transcript, right? So I have my 5 transcripts. I select all of them. I select the first one, press on shift. I select the last one so that I can select everything, go to open, and then you can even create cases for them, right? So cases are containers that are created for each of the participant or each of the documents. You can do that, and then you can give it a name, right? You can say participant, and then you click on import. So now we have our transcript here. You can also bring your demographics. I've done a video on how to bring your demographic into the project. You can go to classification and click on import classification sheet if you are having an Excel. If you don't have an Excel, you can create your demographic variables manually by going to case classification and then right click here and go to add attribute. And you'll be able to add the variables and provide the information about each of the participant categories or characteristics in terms of the variables that they are linked to. But, I've already have a video on that. So I want to focus now on using the AI assistant, which is here, to help you to make sense of your data. Now that we have all the transcript here, maybe you want to get a big picture of what participant was telling you, right? As I always say, summarizing is not a perfect, but it gives you an idea about what they were mainly talking about. So you can select all of them, right? So I select the first one, press on shift and select the last one, right click on it and go to AI Assistant Summarize Document. Then I click on agreement to say that you are agreeing on the terms, you accept the terms in relation to using AI. Another thing that you have to make sure is that your computer is connected to the internet. Without connecting your computer to the internet, you will not be able to use the AI assistant because your information has to be uploaded in the cloud and then the system runs your document and then bring you the output. Before you click on OK, it wants you to read the terms. So you have to click on it and read all the terms and know how your data will be used by the AI platform so that you can get what you want. If you are okay with what you read, you click on OK. And then this window comes. What you have to do is just click on generate. So you see that the first participant has already been selected. So I click on generate. But before you click on generate, you have to indicate the language that you want your output to look like. You want your summary in English or in any other language, you can indicate that. And also you can indicate the length, whether you want it short, long, or standard in terms of the summary. So maybe I want a long one, so I choose long and click on generate. The system is generating. When it finishes generating, you can click on the second one, right? And then it will also generate. The third one, you click on that, it wants to generate a fourth one. So the system will automatically generate when you move to the next one, right? So now I have summary. This one, it gives me a brief information about who were the participants and what they were saying. When you finish, you can decide whether you want to save all the summary. If you want to save all the summary, you can go to P1 and click on Add Memo. And then you can click on add memo again when it goes to P2, now it's P3, add memo, P4, add memo, P5, add memo, right? So now I've added everything to the memo. I have all the summary there. If I want to get access to it, I just go to the memo. So I click on OK. And then if you want to see the summary, you go to memo. Under that, we have AI summaries, and you have all the summaries for each of the transcript that you have. You can click on one of them and you'll be able to see the summary, right? And as I said, this one is going to be very useful if you want to get a brief information about what participants are saying and who they are, right? To get an idea about the kind of information that they provided to you and how they might be addressing the research question that you have. I think the only limitation I want to also talk about this AI assistant is that it's just summarizing. It doesn't take into consideration your research question. It's just a general summary. So you always have to be very careful as you are going through your data. It's not, I will not use the summary to code my data, but I will just use the summary to get an idea about what participants were talking about, right? Another thing I want to really share with you is that if, let's say, let's double click one of the documents, right? And then you are going to, and you want the system to summarize part of your document for you, right? So we open a document and let's say, I want the system to summarize this information for me. So I select. When I select, I right click on it and go to AI Assistant Summarize Text. I click on that, and this is the text that I want the system to summarize. I want it short, maybe I want it standard, right? And then I can click on generate. So in terms of summary, most of the time you can get, based on what you choose here, you can get in between 20 to about 200 words, right, in terms of the summary. Sometimes also depend on what the inputs are in terms of the summary. So when you finish here, you can click on OK. When you click on cancel, it will not save your information. But if you click on OK, what will happen you see here is just telling you that it has been documented under annotation. So if you want to see the summary, you can check annotation and then you see the summary down here, right? And then, so yes, you can check the annotation and you see in the summary right here. So that's what I have for you concerning AI assistant for summarizing your document. Let's move on to the coding process. That's the most important place because you want to go through the data and identify information that is significant and develop code to help you to address your research question. The AI assistant is very effective in terms of if you provide relevant information to a system to be able to develop very good code, it might not take into consideration the research question, but because you group the significant information under the research question, you get a very good course that will address the research question. So I'm going to show you and you can think about it, and we can also do a little bit of comparison later. I did it manually and the one that I use AI and compare and see whether AI is doing well in terms of helping us to make sense of our data. So let's start the coding process. You start the coding process by going to code. There's an empty space here. You have to create containers for the research question. We have to create a container for the research question one. It will be burnout causes, and then the research question two will be burnout solutions. So what we can do is that we right click here, go to new code, and then in parentheses, we're gonna type RQ1, research question one, and then burnout causes. We can also copy and paste the research question here, just in case you want to remind yourself about the question that you want to address in your study. You can put that information there and you check aggregate coding from children and you click on OK. Then we create another container for research question two. We can right click here, new code, and then in parentheses, RQ2, and that will be burnout solutions. Then you can check aggregate coding from children. Now we're going to start our coding process. This is going to be a little bit different because what you are doing now is that you are not totally doing coding. You are just going through the data, extracting information that are significant, that can address your research question and drop them into your containers for the research question. And then when we finish, we can go to the next process using AI to help us to develop code, right? So we go to files, we double click on the first transcript. Then we go to code so that we bring the containers for the research questions here, right? So what you're gonna do is that you go through, let's say long hours is significant, addressing the first research question. You select that and drop it into research question one, right? And then you go through again. If you see anything that is significant, I think this one is also one of the causes of burnout. You select that and drop it into the first research question. So that's what you're going to do. Spend time in prayer and reflection. You can select that and put in the second research question. It's about burnout solution. Having time with family can also part of burnout solutions. So going through the data, identify information that is significant and dropping them under the research question. So that's what you're going to do. Going through, when you finish, you can close it and go to the next one and click on code so that the containers will be here. And the same process, I think this one is significant. Talks about having numerous work-related tasks. So you put it under causes of burnout. So that's how you're gonna do it. So this is a strategy. When you identify the information that is significant, you decide whether it's relevant. If it's relevant, where do you have to put it? Do you have to put it in research question one, or research question two, or research question three, or any category that you have? This one can also be used for content analysis, right? If you already have containers based on your conceptual framework, you can create the containers here, right? And then you can go through the data, identify information that's significant, and put them under those containers. When you finish, you can then use AI Assistant to help you to make sense and develop codes or maybe themes to help you to address your research question or to connect to the conceptual, the components of the conceptual framework that you have, right? So I think now you are getting an idea about the process of coding, which is a little bit different because you're going to use AI to help you. Now, what you are doing is that the principle here is that not all the information that participant has given you is important, right? So you are going into the data, extracting information that are important and leaving the ones that has nothing to do with the research question, right? And then put them under their respective the containers in terms of a research question, and then you move on to the next stage. So that's how you're gonna do. When you finish with research question two, go to the next one, the same process, right? So let me show you how the finished product looks like so that we can go to the next. So as you can see here, this is how it's gonna look like. I have my research questions containers, and you see here there's 5 files. There are 5 transcripts that have been coded and also 12 significant information that have been extracted from the data and connected to the cause of burnout. Another 12 has been selected from the data and connected to the solutions of burnout. Now, what do you have to do next? This is where the AI assistant comes in, right? So what I would do is that in order to develop codes, right, I right click on the first research question and go to AI assistant, suggest child codes. So what AI is going to do is that it's going to go through all the significant information that is connected to this container, and then it will be able to develop codes based on the significant information. So you click on that, and then you always have to indicate whether you agree with the terms. You click on the link, it will take you to the terms there so that you can review and click on OK. You can go ahead and click on generate. Sometimes, depending on the number of significant information, it might take some time, but doesn't take a long time. So you see how the system was able to go through all the significant information I've extracted and develop codes for me. So for work-life balance, which is one of the causes of burnout, right? And these are the significant information that was extracted. When you go to stress and burnout, these are the significant information that was extracted, right? So this is a chance for you to review, making sure that they are addressing your research question that you have. Is work-life balance addressing your research question? You look at this one and also look at the significant information. You have the option to make adjustment to the code that has been presented to you. After you have clicked on OK, you can go back and make an adjustment. But the most important thing here that you have to look at is that look at the significant information and look at the label. Are the significant information making reference to work and life balance, or you want to maybe make a little bit of change to the code, but the groupings of the significant information is okay, right? So this is a decision that you have to make. But the good thing is that you will have the chance to look through and make informed decisions. You can decide that, okay, I don't want this code because it's not really addressing a research question. You can check here and the system will not include this as part of the code. Or you can say that I want a code, but information that are in here doesn't correspond to the code that has been created. Then you can uncheck add reference, right? So that it will show only the codes and not the references or the significant information that has been captured, right? So I like the ability to make changes if you don't want them. And I like the ability to review and make sure that the AI has done what you expect it to do. So this is the time for you to review. This is what I wish, right? I wish there's a way that we can provide the system our research question, and the system goes through the transcript and identify information that is significant and then develop codes for us. But maybe as time goes on, the company will make a little adjustment so that you'll be able to have more kind of interaction with the AI too, right? But now I think where we are now is also a very good thing because now you can go through the data, identify information that is significant, and then the system helps you to develop labels or codes based on what you have identified. Hopefully, the codes will help you to address your research question. The reason why these codes are consistent with the research question is that it's because of the significant information you put into the containers for the research question. I think that if they can give us more options for us to have interaction with the AI tool, that would be great. Like, ChatGPT kind of thing, right? Where the system can go through the data and extract information that is significant based on the research question, and then it helps you to develop codes, and then you can review the codes and make any adjustment that you want. But that's what we have now. It's very good for now. When you finish, you can click on OK, right? There's an option here if you want the information that has been extracted to go beyond coding reference or like narrow context. This means that it will take into consideration things that are around the significant information that has been extracted. You can choose that. But for now, I would just leave this one alone because you're already going through the data and selected significant information yourself. So I think leaving it alone here will be good. Then you click on OK, and then let's see. So when you click on the plus sign, you see that all the codes has been developed for you. You see the place where we add references. You see that there's nothing there. Just an example to you that if you think that the significant information that have been connected to this is not relevant, you can take them out and then maybe go to the data and identify information that are significant and bring it back. One example is that you go to the first participant and click on codes, and then you can look for information that help you to talk about work-life balance. Let's assume that it's for me to talk about work-life balance. And then you can select that and drop it into that container. So you can still go ahead and code if you want to. If you decide that we want to change some of the labels or the code names, you can right click on that and go to code properties. And then you can also change if you want to change it. Maybe instead of work-life balance, you can say work-life imbalance because we are talking about something negative, right? The costs of burnout. So you click on OK and then it will be changed. So you always have the option to go back and change. I'm not a fan of having one word for a code. So in terms of inadequacy, I will go back and right click on and go to code properties and say having the sense of inadequacy, right? And then you click on OK. So you see how you can go back and make the changes if you want. Let's try the research question 2. We right click on that and go to AI Assistant and we click on generate. And then we wait for the system to go through and provide us information. You can review and make sure that you want them to be part of the code. If you are satisfied, you can click on OK, and then that information will be here, and you can see them here, right? So you see how easy the process is, and you can ask why the codes are so correspond so much to the research question because of the work that you did. You did a good work by going to the data and identify information that are significant. So it's make it easy for the system to give you codes that are consistent with the research question that you have. That's how you can develop codes, right? You may ask, so where are the themes? How do you come up with themes? You can come up with themes by using one of my strategies, which is the sorting strategy, where you can export all these. You right click and go to export an export list, and then you put in the Excel spreadsheet, and then you can open Word document and group the codes based on the similarities so that you could have about 5 or 4 themes addressing the research question. One of my videos I talk about categorizing your codes. If you listen to that, you'll be able to do that, right? But when you look at all these and you realize that, oh, they are about 4, 5 codes, then they automatically become themes, right? So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You may decide not to go further and categorize them to develop themes because the codes are not a lot. So they become themes addressing the research question. And one interesting aspect that you could even do is that you can easily generate codes under these themes, right? If you call them themes, you can right click on this one, especially if you want to think about the characteristics of each of the codes, right? Or the themes that you have right now. You can right click on them and go to AI Assistant and click on generate, and it will generate codes for you. So you see how the system has generated 3 codes for you under this theme, right? So now you can right click here, go to code properties, right? And make this a theme, right? You don't have to check aggregate coding from children because the numbers will be very confusing, right? But as you can see here, you see how now you have information here under research question 1, right? But there's no information about time management challenges. So you can decide to delete that because there's no information there. There's no need for it to be there, right? So you can take it out and then focus on the 2. So you see how even under the themes, you can still generate some codes under that. So let's do the stress and burnout. You can right click on that, go to AI Assistant, and then click on generate. And now you have one, two, three, four codes. You click on OK. And then you can see the plus sign, all the codes come here, right? So let's say you are writing about stress and burnout. You can talk about stress and burnout in relation to all these aspects. I love this tool. Most of the time will be spent on extracting information from the data and putting them under the research question. And then the next one, you are going to do less work because AI will develop codes for you and also themes. And here you decide whether you can turn them into themes. And then under each of the theme, you can also see whether you can generate code. So you see how easy the process is, right? This one is a little bit different. For the research question two, we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, right? We have a lot of codes here. So we have to decide whether we have to go ahead and categorize some of them or group some of them so that we will be able to have themes, right? I think self-care and positive mindset may have something in common. So I can, as part of self-care, you having a positive mindset. So I can even drag and drop this under self-care, right? And then lifelong learning can also be self-care, right? And now we have one, two, three, four, five themes, right? And then you can even right-click here and go to AI Assistant and then generate more codes under that. So you have additional two codes. You click on OK. You have code here. You right-click here. You go to code properties, and you turn this one to theme. See how easy the process is. Because of AI, coding has become so easy for you to do, right? You can right-click on that family time and go to AI Assistant, and then you can click on Generate, and you'll be able to generate that information and click on OK. And then you have four codes under this theme. You right click here, you go to code properties and type themes, right? Theme, and then click on OK. So now you see how we are generating themes, right? You can also generate theme here. We can right click here, go to AI Assistant, generate, click on OK. Do one click here and then type theme here, right? Right click, you go to AI Assistant, generate, and click on OK. And then you can right click on it and go to code properties and you type themes at the beginning, parentheses, and then you click on OK. Do the same thing, right click, go to AI Assistant, generate codes, and click on OK. And then you right click on it, you go to code properties, and then generate themes. This is amazing. And I know that as time goes on, they will improve the function and you have more function related to AI assistant. But what we have now, it to really make our work very easy. You are directly working with the AI tool in a systematic way and in an ethical way, and so that you can get results that is addressing a research question. And I think that, as we are trying to use AI, you also have to be transparent, right? So when you are describing how you analyze your data, you can describe in this way. You uploaded a transcript into NVivo, right? And you created a containers for the research question or maybe for your objectives of the study, or containers for your conceptual framework, the components of the conceptual framework, especially if you are doing content analysis, right? Then so you have the containers that you have already generated. You go through the data, identify information that are significant and drop them into those containers. Then after that, you allow AI to review what is inside the containers, and then you'll be able to develop codes. and you got codes. Based on the number of codes, you decide whether you have to do further categorization or you can change their label as code to themes because they are not a lot. Especially if you have between 4 to 5 codes, you can decide that, okay, they are now themes. And then you can go to each of the themes and then generate codes under that using the AI tool or AI function, right, to help you to generate. At the end of the day, you have theme to address your research question. This saves you a lot of time. And if you have any question, put your question in the comment section. I will be able to provide you the answers. And I promise that I'm going to show you the last thing. You can also use this AI to as a way of checking what you have done. Is it confirming? We can call it maybe triangulation, right? So let me open one. Okay, this is the one that I manually coded. And let's say you have already manually coded your data. You want to also use AI to see whether the AI information is consistent with what you found or there are some differences, right? So you can use it as a form of triangulation, right? So look at this one. I have manually generated codes, right? So this is for the research question 1. This is for research question 2. Imagine that I want to use AI to also see whether the things that AI will find correspond to what I found, or there's something that I overlook that I can add it to the codes that I have, right? You can use AI. So how do you do that? First, when you right click on this, you have to make sure that you go to code properties. You have check aggregate coding from children, right? So that all the information has been gathered under the research question. So you see that 14 means that everything significant information is now under the container of the research question, right? Now you can right click on it and go to AI suggest child code. You check this one, you click on this link and to read the terms and conditions and click on OK. Click on generate to go through and generate the codes for you. And then you click on OK. Now you have a lot of codes because the AI has coded in addition to what you have coded. But how do you differentiate between what AI has coded and what you have coded? When you go under created by, you can see that the ones that AI has created, it indicates AI. PAK is me, right? These are the what I've manually created. So it's easy for you to differentiate between what AI has created and what you have created. So what you could do is to just compare and see what AI has created. Are there any similarities, differences? Why are they different? So you can say academic burden. Maybe there's something there related to academic burden, maybe having numerous work-related tasks. You can open academic burden and see what is in there and see whether there's some consistency concerning what is in here and what is in there, right? So I think it's also a way of maybe helping you to make sure that you have created the necessary codes to help you to move to the next stage. So look at two information about was captured. This one, long hours, and also this about a hectic schedule. So long working hours. Yes, so you can see there's two information in there. So you can decide, okay, I think maybe I should have captured this as part of long hours. No, this one, so if you decide that, okay, you should have captured this one, you can put it, drag and drop it inside the the container or the code that you developed, right? So you see how this one can help you to identify places where you did not code or the codes that you can even add to yours. So I really like this one. It can be like your second coder, right? So that you'll be able to compare and contrast. Maybe you can even run some intercoder reliability because based on what information that you have gotten here. So let me know whether you want me to do a video concerning that, but I think that this is a way to also check and see whether there's something that you overlook or Maybe you may have to make an adjustment to some of the labels that you gave or the names for the code so that it really address the research question. So this is what I have for you. Let me know what you think and what you think about the new function. Please like my videos and subscribe so that when I upload a new video, you'll be notified and then you'll be able to view some of my videos. Thank you so much for your time.